Gunmen abduct butchers chairman cleric in Nasarawa. Fuel scarcity looms across Nigeria as Nupeng mobilizes for independent strike. Kano residents battle soaring tomato costs as pests reduce yield. And on the foreign scene, South Africa election ends 3 decades of ANC dominance. Hello and welcome to Trust TV's news update. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. Thank you for joining us. Now, some yet to be identified gunmen suspected to be kidnappers have abducted the Nasarawa State Chairman of Butchers Association, Yunusa Muhammad Goma, and the Deputy Chief Imam, Jibwit GRA Mosque, Lafia Yakubu Muhammad Sadiki. The chairman, Lafia Cattle Market, Ahmed Saleh Matessa, who confirmed this in a telephone interview with Trust TV in Lafia, said the victims were abducted after the night prayers. According to Matassa, the victims were kidnapped at the cattle markets where they normally stay before going home after the night prayer. According to the Lafia Cattle Market chairman, before the kidnapping, the abductors engaged in sporadic shooting, adding that 2 women were hit by bullets in the process. The police public relations officer of Nasarawa State, Ramhan Nansel, who said the command had not been briefed at the time of filing this report, promised that the incident would be investigated to fish out the perpetrators. Internal Security, the Gombe Police State Command, has arrested a 13-year-old boy for allegedly raping an 8-year-old girl. According to the command, the incident happened at Akko local government of the state, adding that investigation into the rape case is ongoing, while necessary action will be taken immediately. Hassan Kohli has more.
Parading the suspects at the command headquarters in Gombe on Friday, the police public relations officer ASB Buhari Abdullahi said the boy was arrested for defiling a minor. He, however, said the case was under investigation.
We have a case of rape, which the suspect is Ibrahim Muhammad, 13 years of age, from Akko local government, Kumo town. On the 24th of May 2024 at about 0800 hours, a formal complaint was received at Akko division that on the 22nd of May 2024 at about 0700 hours, the above mentioned suspect dragged an 8-year-old girl to a corner and had a carnal knowledge of her.
The suspect, Ibrahim Muhammad, said he regretted his action, which he attributed to the devil. She was going on an errand when I stopped her, lured her to a corner. I raped her. I did not know it had such a serious consequences. I pray that Allah will protect us against committing such crimes. The police command also apprehended 3 people carrying rail tracks hidden inside a truck conveying sand.
That on 29th of May 2024, at about 20:40 hours, following a credible intelligence received from a good Samaritan that the above-mentioned suspect were seen carrying railway tracks. The said suspect, who specialized in vandalizing critical government infrastructures, have vandalized iron components of railway at Leji rail track.
The command appealed all residents of Gombe to continue providing it with credible information that will help it secure lives and properties. Hassan Kohli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
The Abia State chapter of the Nigerian Labour Congress has promised to comply with the directive of NLC and the Trade Union Congress to begin an indefinite nationwide strike on Monday. The NLC and the TUC declared a strike on Friday following the federal government's failure to conclude and pass into law a new National Minimum Wage Act and reverse the hike in electricity tariff to 65 naira per kilowatt. The Abia NLC chairman Ogbonnayo Okoro disclosed this in an interview on Friday. Okoro said the branch will call for a state emergency meeting on Monday, where it will direct members to comply with the national directive. Former President Muhammadu Buhari in April 2019 signed into law the Minimum Wage Repeal and Reenactment Act 2019. The federal government has pleaded with the organized labor to reconsider its decision to embark on an indefinite strike from Monday, June 3, 2024, in protest against the government's refusal to raise the proposed minimum wage from 60,000 naira. According to the federal government, the interest of the masses should be the top priority of organized labor. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Idris Mohammed, disclosed this in an interview on Saturday while describing the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress as partners in projects in Nigeria. Mohammed noted that industrial actions was not the solution to the ongoing negotiations for a new minimum wage for workers. This came hours after organized labor declared a nationwide strike, which would begin on Monday, June 3rd, 2024, over the federal government's refusal to raise the proposed minimum wage from 60,000 naira. Still staying with the proposed strike, over in Kaduna State, people living with disabilities say the planned nationwide strike declared by the organized labor in response to the failure of the federal government to arrive at a new minimum wage will adversely affect its members. To this end, the group has vowed to challenge the organized labor to refrain from the strike to ensure that members who go about seeking legitimate means of survival do not suffer. Trust TV's Bello Musa, who is in Kaduna, has more of the story.
They are here reflecting on the happenings in the country and the challenges of people living with disabilities in Nigeria with a view to addressing them. The thrust of the discussion here is the need to have more representation of people with disabilities in government, especially at the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Let it be reiterated that the PWD's community has played a crucial role in the development of the nation, including the election of Mr. President himself. We are passionately appealing to him to grant this only wish by appointing one of the PWDs as Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. It goes without saying that since the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation has been without a minister, government is failing in providing basic succor to less privileged.
On the strike that will be embarked upon by the NLC, they said they will not support the action of the organized labor as it will make people living with disabilities more vulnerable.
Indefinite strike means the electricity is going to be shut down, transportation is going to be shut down, every aspect of life is going to be shut down. We, persons with disabilities, we are the most vulnerable. We are calling the attention of NLC. We are not together with them in calling this strike. In part of the NLC agenda, there is nothing like people with disabilities welfare. NLC have nothing to do with people with disabilities welfare. Our people with disabilities, most of them are not civil servants. They have to go out and source for what they feed themselves daily. If you shut down this country, who is going to provide food for us? Who is going to take care with our responsibilities?
They appeal to NLC to consider the economic condition of their members and go back to the negotiation table with the government, or else they will challenge the strike action.
And by Monday, over 2,000 people with disabilities will roam the street of Abuja to challenge the issue of this strike calling by the NLC. We are saying no to strike. We are advising the NLC to go and settle, to go and negotiate with the federal government, because people with disabilities are going to pay this more.
The NLC strike is expected to commence on Monday, 3rd of June. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
The Senate Committee on Army has condemned what it called the heinous and cowardly attack on troops of Operation Udoka at the Obikabia Junction checkpoint Aba in Abia State during the Biafra Remembrance Day. According to a statement by the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, the assault was carried out by IPOB ESN terrorists, resulting in the tragic loss of 5 personnel of the armed forces. The military also confirmed the loss of 6 civilian lives in the crossfire. Reacting in a statement signed by its chairman, Senator Abdulaziz Yaradua, on Saturday, the Senate Committee on Army said the attack is an affront to the peace and security of the nation. The committee called for comprehensive investigation into the attack to ensure that justice is served and those responsible are brought to account. Still on the matter, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in last year's general elections, Peter Obi, and his People's Democratic Party counterpart, Atiku Abubakar, have condemned the attack in Abia State that claimed 11 lives. 5 soldiers and 6 civilians were killed in Aba on Thursday when gunmen stormed the military unit at Obikabia Junction, Obo Hill area, and burnt the unit as well as a patrol van parked in the unit. Some soldiers were alleged to have escaped the attack by the gunmen. A day after the incident, Atiku and Obi joined the list of prominent Nigerians in condemning the attack and separate statements on their X handles. Describing the attack as a dastardly act, Obi said the IB attack is a reminder of the escalating insecurity that has plagued the nation. Obi asked the Nigerian authorities to step up decisive actions to avoid further bloodshed in the country. Atiku, on his part, asked the federal government to ensure the criminal elements are separated from legitimate agitators. As the nation settles to the reality of the return to the old version of the national anthem, Nigerians in Lagos have continued to react to the sudden change in the use of the anthem. The anthem, which was first used during the colonial era, is titled Nigeria, We Hail Thee. Victoria Chokolo, who spoke to some Lagosians, reports that most Nigerians are yet to find justification for the decision. The report.
Nigeria, We Hail Thee is the first national anthem composed for the country in 1960. It was replaced by Arise O Compatriots in 1978. However, the federal government has decided to bring back the old anthem without proper sensitization of the citizens on the reasons behind the reversal. In Lagos, residents says the decision is out of tune with the present economic realities in Nigeria.
Singing the national anthem, Nigeria Will Hail Thee, is a form of deceit to the people. Because nobody is hailing anybody. Do we really love ourselves as, as a Nigerian? Like I said, there are a lot of things that we need to address. It's not about the national anthem.
We, as we are in Nigeria now, we are not hailing anything because there's nothing that we are going to keep as a record for our children. We should forget about bringing about the national anthem and work concerning the current economical situation. People are hungry, people are crying, a lot of people are there, fuel is expensive. Traveling from one state to another is a difficult phenomenon. So this national anthem of a team is something that is good, but not in this time.
Others commented on the usefulness or not of the old anthem to their daily lives.
Nigeria will hail. What are they hailing? It has no meaning. As far as I'm concerned, there is nothing they are hailing about. What are they hailing in the country? Are they hailing the president or who?
I prefer the former one to this present one because we must help ourselves before God will help us. Because by saying it will change the national anthem, it will be the idea of stopping hunger or stopping killing or something like that. That is not the first step to be taken.
Nigerians says while the Nigeria We Hail Thee anthem is a good one, it is not what the country needs at the period of economic downturn and insecurity. Hence, the need for the federal government to look beyond the anthem and work towards securing the citizens and stabilizing the economy.
Now to cost of living matters. Residents of Makurdi, the Benue State capital, say rating President Tinubu's performance in his first year in office, Nigerians, is a difficult task due to the prevailing economic crisis. The crisis fueled by the removal of subsidy on petrol has beclouded any gain made by the administration, saying that the removal of fuel subsidy has made life difficult for the masses. Jimmy Azande reports.
Echoes of lamentations have continued to dot the length and breadth of Benue residents react to the president's 1 year in office. They are wondering when they have time to go away and whether or not they will live to see the better side of Nigeria.
Especially students, we have resumed back to school. It's over three weeks now, and if you come to school, you look at the population, the usual population we used to have when we resume back to school, it has now reduced based on this fuel subsidy, and students are not being able to get their even transport to come back to school.
They cry. Say only 700 naira, not 300 naira. So it's not good though. Men they tell what na jagaban, what na tinubu, make everything down. Now fuel be the important things. Make fuel come down. Person go buy market, you go see the two, you go get inside. So this thing too much. Now if you I tell, say 100, now be 300 now. It's not good. If you go job, they know be full.
According to statistics, about 70% of Nigerians are multidimensionally poor. These poor categories are the ones mostly affected by the removal of subsidy on petrol by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
If you go buy something possible, you don't get the money, you don't go buy it. People they die for hunger. So the thing is very serious. Now they pity for children when they go to school. When a person trouble from children, so they go to school, because they give them food again. You go come sit down for house, no work. Make a head of state, make we take a notice.
People are passing through hardship, particularly those from the lower class in the sense that are not, their income was not something to talk about.
No day passes without a discussion among residents on the current economic climate in the country. It is the expectation of Nigerians that a president will assess the situation and execute policies that will alleviate the untold hardship currently faced by majority of the Nigerian masses. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
Over in Kano State, residents are battling with the soaring cost of tomato, with a basket now sold for as high as 100,000 naira. Tomato farmers in the region who have been fighting to stave off a pest called Tuta absoluta, which has drastically reduced yields, say this has caused prices to skyrocket, leaving many households struggling to afford this essential commodity. Here's the report.
At the Yankaba vegetable market, one of the largest in Kano, the price of tomatoes has risen dramatically. Just a few weeks ago, a big basket was sold for 26,000 naira. Today, it's selling between 95,000 naira and 108,000 naira.
I came to the market to see all the prices are too high. I cannot buy it.
Before I can use maybe 1,000 because I do plenty stew. Now before I will make stew to sell the little rice I used to cook, it's almost 10,000 naira.
According to sellers, the sharp increase is due to a significant drop in supply. Tomato farmers in Kano have been battling a pest called Tuta absoluta, which has devastated crops and affected farms across Kano's irrigation sites, leading to a dramatic reduction in tomato production. The problem with the price of tomatoes is everywhere in Nigeria, not just Kano. The farmers during the last farming season have had a problem of that pest which they call Tuta absoluta. And many farmers have not been able to produce as much as they should have. So the small amount that we have, we now have to make do to sell it at the prices that we can actually sell it. So we have some baskets, the smaller ones that can go for about 35,000 to 45,000, and then the very, very good one goes from about 95,000 to 108,000 naira. As you can see, the kind of tomatoes I bought here is this one, which is not even ripe, and we just have to use it like that. We have no choice.
I don't know what to say, oh my brother. Even though you cry blood, everything, instead of things to come down, will be going up.
The situation is dire and residents are feeling the impact. Many are calling for immediate intervention to support the farmers and stabilize the market.
Away from Nigeria, in South Africa, ruling ANC on Saturday began a search for allies to help it form a new government after it lost its 3-decade-old absolute majority in a watershed election. With 99% of the votes from Wednesday's election counted, President Cyril Ramaphosa's African National Congress had only 40%, a catastrophic slump from the 57.5 it won in 2019. This marks a historic turning point for South Africa as the party has enjoyed an absolute majority since 1994, when liberation leader Nelson Mandela led the nation out of white minority rule and into democracy. The ANC must now either negotiate a coalition government or at least persuade other parties to back Ramaphosa's re-election in parliament to allow him form a minority government reliant on other parties for support to pass budgets and legislation. And in sports, the Taraba State Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Joseph Joshua, has tied the ongoing wrangling in the sports chapter of the Nigerian Football Association to the inability to revive FC Taraba and the Taraba Queens. The state-owned male and female football teams have been out of existence for over 5 years due to crisis. In a media parley on Saturday in Jalingo, the commissioner assured that Governor Abu Kefas will right the wrongs that have crippled the activities of football in the state. He reiterated the state government's commitment to harness and showcase all sports potentials in the state, saying there are plans to identify and groom talent spread across rural communities. He also revealed that plans are underway to renovate the Jolly Nyame Stadium in the Jalingo metropolis, the Gembu Stadium in Sarodana Local Government Council and the Wukari Council. And that's it for news updates at this hour on Trust TV. For more news, programs and documentaries, please do to follow us on all our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. And Shamaka Wafo, a member of the news production team.